Did anybody else use food as the gateway subject into waking somebody up? Whether it's religion, government, money, but usually it starts with health, you know? In my case, my mom has MS, yet she eats processed seed oil, lots of sugars, I don't know, bleach flour, trash bread. And so I would see her eating things and I would try to tell her that's not good to do. I didn't say it like that. I guess you say, it started out with why I don't eat most things. And my answer is always because of the ingredients. And then she would ask which ingredients. And they're all the ingredients that are in her food that she refuses not to eat. It says that she wants to be as healthy as possible. And telling somebody that the way they've been living their whole life is not good for them, especially with the way that the older generations are, Gen X, boomers, they're so set in their ways that they get offended, insulted, insecure when they're told that there's a better way to do things. And in my case, the older people who I've tried to get through to, I would like to tell them everything, but you got to start small, right? My parents, they both get so offended and upset if the way they're doing things or see things is not the best. They think they know everything and they really don't. Nobody once in my life sat me down and said, aliens are real and the government doesn't love you. No, I mean, I guess I knew those things, but nobody ever sat me down and told me how really bad it was because nobody in my life knew. And so trying to tell people in my life so that they know, they take that as telling them that what they do know, their worldview, they think I'm telling them that they are wrong or that what they are doing is wrong or that they were a bad parent because they had bad parents. It is very unfortunate. But the reality is that if anybody is still lost or asleep now, you got to let them go. You got to let them be. You got to love them as they are. Yikes. I realized this after the fact, but I upset my parents when I was being the parent to them that they should have been to me. But my parents are really nasty people if you aren't agreeing with them. It really came to a head around Christmas time because I do not celebrate that. I get down with Yule, but not with Christmas. And my whole family has no idea what is in the book that they claim to read and worship and follow. They go to Zionist Christian churches. My sister just had her fourth child. A third and fourth were twins, but she's in denial that the world is changing and that her children are not going to grow up in the same world that we grew up in. And that they are going to face very, very serious times. I know it's not fair for people without kids to say what they would do if they had kids, but there's a reason why I don't have them. There are many reasons. But if I had kids, they would not get shots. They would not go to public education. They would not eat most foods in the grocery store. They would really know about how the world works. And they would not have iPads. We would read and perform plays and explore nature. And that doesn't seem to be the way kids are growing up these days. There's no regard for the damage that is being done, the very, very serious and real, permanent, deep damage that is being done to the children, which means to the species, which means the future, the planet. The planet's going to be fine without us, If people do not want to hear about the Matrix, the simulation, the dire warnings for mankind, the spiritual and real life wars that are coming, that are happening, if people don't want to hear about it, don't want to wake up, don't want to accept how evil their own doctors and hospitals are, the schools that their kids go to, the food and television and music they consume, you can't convince most people because of the challenge to their reality and their comforts and their identity. It certainly is an initiation process for me. Everything I thought I was and had and wanted had to die, actually, to be able to face and escape the Matrix. And it is astonishing how through the generations, the recent past 3 to 5 generations, there's been a wearing down on the human connection to spirit and awareness of our innate powers by those in power, to the point where, like, I grew up not knowing anything about the world. I didn't know how to build anything or fix anything or make and save money. It blows my mind, and it's not my parents' fault because they didn't know any better. Their parents didn't tell them, and it just keeps going back. It is such a deep, long game of forces against us for this exact outcome. That was the whole point, is to get us to this point. What's been being sprayed in the skies and put into people's bodies and minds is all to weaken us and make us docile and obedient and confused and afraid. And some people are okay with hollow comforts, mostly because they really don't even know any better. And it's one of those things that once you wake up, you can't unsee. You can't go back to sleep. Some people might think it's a heavy curse. Blavatsky has a book about that. A heavy curse. That's what being an adept is, in a sense. It's knowing that we are cursed and blessed, both so much simultaneously. Being alive is to be on assignment for something so great and terrifying and rewarding. Life really is more epic and intricate and interesting than any movie. Sobriety is more psychedelic than, not more psychedelic than psychedelics, but it's better than just getting high or being drunk or being in love. Being in love that's a filter close to blindness. Much, love blinds as hate blinds. That's what they say. It's really cold out here, and my hands are very cold. I should have put gloves on, but you know what? Here's a thought. Did anybody see that video that David Icke posted of the interview with that woman? I had to listen to that interview twice. It was a wild ride. And there were some things in it. One thought, some notes that I have from watching it. She said that shapeshifters, reptilians, cannot hold their human form if they smell blood. So I thought, why don't we start going around with fresh blood? Like, I'll cut my own hand around them. I'll really make it rain. No. That, instead of an assassin, instead of doing anything crazy, that's like the best, mostly pretty much non-violent plan that you could do around a reptilian, is make yourself bleed so that they smell your fresh blood, and then the whole world sees them change forms. Why don't people do that more often? Or why haven't we seen that as a solution to this? People have known for a long time that certain people are shapeshifters, and there are ways to bleed around them. I mean, maybe it doesn't have to be fresh blood, and you could just bring it from home in a little mason jar or two. It's a lot of blood, though. Oh dear. Might want to get a team in on this. Don't do this yourself. Bring a mason jar of blood around a shape-shifting reptilian, some public appearance in some way, where there are cameras, high-definition cameras on them, which there usually are, and splash around some of your blood so that they get a whiff, and then the whole world sees what they really are, and you can't argue with that, So that's my plan. Please, somebody, try this as soon as possible. Let's compare results and notes. Do this responsibly. Anyway, so has anybody actually tried drinking their own pee? What is it called? Where you cycle. They have terms for it. I've seen it in the comments. Where you cycle, you drink your pee, and then you pee that out, and then you drink that. It might just be called cycling, but isn't that like a steroids thing? I wouldn't drink your own pee if you're on steroids. Definitely don't be mixing extracurricular activities like that. But a personal trait of mine is that I think everything is a psyop. Everything. It's all just fake and made up in some way. Especially if there's some big mainstream thing that's going around. I assume everything suspicious that I see on Instagram is just CIA planted. And one of those being drinking your own pee, urine therapy, rubbing it on your face and then drinking it, and filling a kiddie pool or a bathtub with it. Plug up your bathtub right next to your toilet, turn 90 degrees, fill that up. That's basically what they're saying, right? I mean, maybe, I still haven't tried it. I just can't trust people on the internet saying there's stem cells, it is an elixir for your own body. So I was thinking about that, the potential health benefits, the rumored potential health benefits of drinking your own urine, and watching this interview with David Icke and this woman, this survivor, and they were talking about drinking blood and the ways that certain dark beings do it. They're addicted to it when it's done a certain way. How do you say this? Can you just make yourself scared and full of adrenaline and drink your own blood and cycle that out and then feel the effects instead of taking somebody else's terrified, worked up blood, which I think that's kind of rude, honestly, without consent especially. So I say, what if you can drink your own adrenochrome? Produce your own supply, just like drinking your own urine. Why are people taking other people's blood? It's kind of the same as taking their urine, which aren't they doing that? If you're eating someone, I bet they are drinking the urine too, like pee in this cup, chasing the adrenaline blood with urine. They're like clear or yellow. It's not funny. It's just a description. Yeah, so get shape-shifting reptilians to show their true form by making them smell blood in public, surprise them, spring it on them, not pour it on them, but somehow just get that smell of. If I was a menstruating woman, it's something I didn't think I'd say today or ever, but if I experienced that, I would try to plan to be around a shape-shifting weirdo while I was bleeding. That was hard to say. And also then make your own adrenochrome at home. Home brew. Stop taking it from other people. The other night was a new moon eclipse, and I watched The Dark Crystal for the first time. Beautiful masterpiece of a film. Oh my goodness. And so relevant to our times today, with the Skeksis and the Gelflings, and how the Skeksis steal the Gelflings' life essence and then make them slaves. And they feed off that. They need that to live. They're addicted to it. The essence drips out of them and drains in a liquid that they drink. And that was just so relevant. Oh my goodness. The Great Conjunction is upon us. Prophecies are being fulfilled. We have a very, very important role to play in them. I feel really lucky to be in a body at this time in history. I mean, buckle up, baby. But yeah, Dark Crystal is a very good movie. It's got puppets, but I got so into the movie. I don't usually get into movies with everything that you're seeing in the world. You have to remember to guard your energy, your life force, to protect it and use it against the Loosh energy harvesting. Do not let low vibrational fear frequencies be harvestable. Be unharvestable. Seriously, we are stronger. The more tuned you are to the universe, the more love you radiate, the more that you know your power, how magical and miraculous you truly are, and you actually have magical, miraculous powers and capabilities, the more you know that that is real, the less power that demons, reptilians, the less power they have over you. The more they have to work to get your life energy essence. Bitch, if you want it, you're gonna have to earn mine. It's not gonna be easy, let me tell you that much. They're gonna have to I mean, they might just get me if I'm in range of these towers, which I still have not escaped yet. But, the Great Reset is upon us. I'd rather not get mud flooded again, but you know how the Hopi prophecy goes. The last world, the third world, was flooded with water. And I mean, I think that's how it goes. Don't quote me. And we're in the fourth world now, and it is going to end by fire? Is that what they say? But what about all the canyons and rock formations that they say are melted cities in deserts, Or the glass that was found in the deserts. There's evidence of nuclear war in the ancient past. I feel like that counts as a world ending by fire, right? That's like my least favorite when I think of ways to die. Would you rather freezing doesn't no freezing sounds good because that gets euphoric, right? Burning alive does not sound euphoric. Drowning sounds horrible. Yeah, definitely freeze to death, please. But there's already been an ice age. They say the fire's coming. The year of the fire horse. It all adds up. 5 and 6G radiation, does that count as a world being ended by fire? I don't think that fits into the Hopi prophecy very nicely. So I reject that. I have a force field around me. My biofield is strong and tuned to source through me. I am blessed and protected. Fuck that demonic shit, though. I was thinking the other day about how the human body rejects foreign materials or objects that are put into it. If you get a splinter, your body doesn't absorb that. It's trying to push it out. It's trying to get it out. Is that the same for if you have a wooden earring? How does that work? And the unbelievable ways that our bodies can heal themselves and cleanse themselves and detoxify and ascend. So, yeah, I refuse to let getting the shots before I knew any better woke me up. Definitely slowed me down a little bit physically and mentally there for a while, but we're good now. The crimes that have been committed against me and millions, billions of other people. Yeah, billions. Because are they vaccinating the vegetables yet? Because, bruh. Ew. These evil, evil things. These atrocious, sinister plans that have been taken out on us, used against us. Some of us, it did its job already. There are many ways that can happen, whether or not you're still breathing. But for many of us, myself included, it backfired. So they're going to have to get me some other way. Ideally, get taken out by CIA or Mossad. What was it? The Journalist's Life Achievement Award? If you're suicided by the CIA. That's what I'm going for. That's because I'm not, a fighter. I'm not trying to die in some actual battle. Definitely going to get suicided. Or, plan A is to ride this out, see this through, be there to know how the future happens and what it looks like. I'm going to need to find, definitely going to need to find a lot more people before that happens. We're running out of time very fast. They say time's speeding up and running out. So there's really none of it to waste at this point. The alarms must be sounded. Last night I put on a history channel in the background, and it was a marathon of World War II Nazi shows. Growing up, I didn't realize, I just thought it was normal how much footage there is from World War II. Sure, there might be cameras around, but like the angles they got and the scenes they got, I mean, talk about one of the biggest psyops. I am convinced that a lot of that was somehow staged or scripted just for the footage that they got. There were so many scenes that, like, what? Why? They were just cameramen all over the place. I haven't looked into that one. Maybe it's normal to you, but I think it's suspicious how much footage there is of that darn psyop. But I got sucked into watching these shows because of the relevance to our time, and myself being living in the corporation of North America, the parallels